Hello, children. I hope you are doing well today. So, let's do the next lesson of UAE SST from Book 2, Lesson number 3, The Age of Discovery. So, here we have the learning objectives to analyze the social and economic causes of the Age of Discovery, to discuss the impact of the Age of Discovery on European society, to consider the fairness of exploiting the resources of another country. The third objective is based on the activity, that is activity 5. Next is the UAE link. Many well-known scientists and astronomers have contributed significantly from the Gulf region. For example, Abu Rayhan al-Biruni, Ibn Sina, and so on. The cross-curricular link, it is linked with science and geography. As the lesson deals with the discoveries, so it has to be linked with science, whereas the geography link is because it has got various maps and the geographical explorations which were done during that time. So it has to be like linked with geography. Warm up brainstorm session in which you have the textual activity given. So please go through the answers. Introduction of this lesson. So before the 14th century CE, European understanding of world geography was incomplete. The shape of the oceans and the continents of the medieval maps were not very accurate. This changed when Europe entered into a new adventurous period in the early 15th century CE. That means in the 14th century, the accuracy of the maps were missing, but in the 15th century onwards, the maps became accurate. And why? Because of too much of explorations and discoveries of the new lands started taking place. So this period of history is called the age of discovery in Europe. Explorers from many European countries such as Italy, Spain, England, Portugal, and the Netherlands journeyed from Europe across the four oceans and discovered various lands and the cultures that were new to them. So, what was the background of the explorations? I have put up the maps. These maps would be useful for you when you do the activities. So here we have the global exploration did not begin in the 15th century as we have learned. The Vikings had sailed from places like Norway to Greenland and Canada around 1000 CE. Marco Polo may have sailed from Italy around South Africa to China in 1269 CE. However, it wasn't until the 15th century CE that the European Age of Discovery truly began in Europe, giving a greater understanding of the rest of the world. So during the 15th and the 16th century CE, explorers sailed in ships from Europe to the lands as far as North and South America. That is, from European continent, they were going to the other continents, that is North and South America, then to Africa, then to Asia, and finally to the continent which is in the far east, that is the Australian continent. You can see the maps over here. Again, I am repeating it, children, which would be easy for you to understand how from Europe they traveled to so many countries and to so many continents, in other words. Now, the Atlantis and the El Dorado. Stories of unusual people and places such as the lost continent of Atlantis and El Dorado, the city of gold, excited the curiosity and greed of the Europeans. So, why they wanted to go in for lots and lots of discoveries and explorations of new land? Because there were so many stories which kept on weaving, and they have come across the stories of the lost continent, Atlantis, and the city of gold. So, they just wanted to go over there, as this is the human nature of curiosity. So they wanted to satisfy their curiosity. So they went in search of these two places, or rather a continent and a city. And the second thing was the greed of the Europeans. Next, they were attracted by the idea of exploring unknown territories for the time, and by finding riches to become famous, at the same time wealthy. Renaissance, new developments. So during the Renaissance, there were developments of new farming techniques, new mechanical processes, and new weapons for warfare. Farms became more productive. That means they were having good yield than before, which helped the European economy to grow stronger. Trade routes were expanding along with a higher demand for resources. This increase in trade and shipping led to more sophisticated and stable financial and banking system in Europe. Now you have to remember that when you go on any tour or any trips with your family, with your friends, obviously we need to shell out money. In that same manner, these European explorers, when they were going for the exploration of new continents or new land, they needed somebody to sponsor them, somebody to fund their explorations. So here comes the role of the banks. So more new lands and routes discovered. And besides the banks, I should really say that the motivation which was provided by the rulers during that time was also something very incredible. So they were the people who always encouraged their explorers to go and search for new land. Now, these developments contributed to a stronger economy and greater desire to explore other parts of the world for new resources and products. So, for example, if you see over here, it was Christopher Columbus. I have put up the map also, all the way from Europe, how he searches for a new route. Okay, so he sails from Spain to Cuba, searching for a new route to the land of silk and spices. Then comes the role of Ferdinand Magellan, sailed from Spain around the bottom of South America and all the way across the Pacific Ocean to the Philippines Islands. Okay, looking for the Spice Islands. Then the Age of Discovery was the period when Europe became a global power. Explorers sailed the oceans and established colonies all over the world, like how UAE was once a colony of the Britishers. In that same manner, India and the subcontinent of India was, rather I should say, under the rule of the Britishers only, with a very few regions taken over by the French and the Portuguese. Rest, most of the regions belonged to the Britishers. So that led to the movement of the explorers going, sailing on the oceans, and establishing a colonies in different parts of the world. Explorations and exploitation of the foreign lands created great wealth for Europe. Now, you must have seen the history of India and the other countries, and you must have realized that how these uh, imperialists, that is, these Europeans who were actually the explorers, and besides explorers, they were exploiting the foreign resources. So, Asian countries were rich in natural resources, so was African continent, and how they just took away the resources either by force at times or by trading. But the trading was in such a manner in which they used to buy the raw materials which they needed for their factories back in Europe, and those raw materials were bought at a very, very reasonable price. So that made these Europeans a wealthy nation. One, and this activity is purely from your textbook, children. So you can see the uh, column 1 and column 2 for the answers. You can see the answers over here. Activity 3 and activity 4 is from your textbook itself. When you will pick up the book, the textbook, you will find and realize that on page number 32 and 33 they have given you the question and the answers. So activity 3, actually if you see, they have done it for you, and the same thing they want you to write it down in activity 4. So you just have to refer to page 32 and 33 and write down the answer on page number 34. Then comes activity 5, wherein it is a personal response question, and they are asking you that the European explorers, they traveled to different countries and took resources, sometimes by trade and sometimes by force. So, which way do you think is better? So, this is what I felt after reading the lesson, as I know about the history of India and other countries. So, this is what I felt should be the answer according to me. Children, thank you so much for watching my video. If you really liked it, then please give me a thumbs up so that I get motivated to make some more videos for you. See you next time with my some new videos. Till then, take very good care of yourself. And I close the video with just one humble request. If you haven't subscribed, then please do subscribe to my channel. Okay, see you. Bye bye.